Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is the Road to the Record, where I work to achieve mastery of 10 games in a hunt for the best score of the Decathlon. If you like what you see, remember to hit that like button. If you want to see more, hit subscribe. Let the games begin. This is Draft Day Sports College Basketball 2017, and we're into week 33 of the competition. I have 4 scholarships on offer for this season. It's still the off season, but we are into October, so we're getting really close to the beginning of the regular season. We will definitely get to that today. I'm down to 8,000 on my budget, so it's getting quite small. I still have 1 scholarship left to offer, but I have 2 players signed already, which is fantastic. And not only is it fantastic that I have 2 signed, but they are both ranked in the top 50, which is phenomenal. I really do run the risk of losing one of them, though. So Dana Ansley is ranked 33rd in the nation, kid out of Hawaii, but he only has a 2.2 GPA, so there's a pretty good chance that he's not going to qualify for the school. But luckily, at the same position is Jamal Small out of Washington, and he's ranked 49th and should qualify. So what I did this season was I used just about the same tactic that I used last offseason and when I had the offseason special a few episodes back. And instead of focusing primarily on Washington and Oregon, I have branched out through the entire West region. And now, through that entire West region, I'm looking at players, every player in the West region in the top 350, which was the most that I could shortlist, essentially, when I started. The list has come down a little bit, or quite a bit. Some of that was due to a few players, like guys who are non-defenders, those Fs. I like to make those go away. All of these guys are scorers. You look at this, all A's and B's. The only A's are my 2 guys that have signed. So some really, really quality players. Some of them are still ranked C overall, but a lot of B's. And then the 1A in Ansley, who hopefully qualifies, but good chance he won't. But the big point here, and why this shortlist has come down so much, is that when you have so many players that are ranked that high in the initial rankings, most of them ended up signing with somebody in that first contact period, which I am right at the end of. I think I'm on the last week of the contact period right now. And so this shortlist has come down significantly from where it was through this contact period. All right, so I am at the end of this week. We'll go ahead and run practice our recruiting for the week and see how things go. And it looks like we actually just picked up a 3rd player, which is awesome. Kenyon Forney has decided to come to our school. He is ranked 67th in the nation. Holy cow. I think, if I remember correctly, that I've only signed 1 player in the top 100 before. That's 3 this season. Forney, I got him last week, I think. There you go. For the first time for a home visit. And he was pretty impressed. Jumped up the list quite a bit. I got him for a campus visit and a home visit, and that seemed to be enough to make the decision. Let's see how these other guys did. Fingleton, he thought it was cool. Gunn thought it was cool. And Graves. You know what? I'm getting so many more positives than I did in years past, so I know a big part of that is my personal recruiting ability, not just the school itself. But one thing about the school is that we finally did get an improvement. This year I asked for a facilities upgrade, not a budget upgrade, though I certainly could have used one. And I finally got a facilities upgrade. So we were originally at the beginning of the game a D, and then we had 1 improvement to make it a D+, and finally a second one has made it a C now. So we're getting up into the tolerable range for our facilities. I won't be asking for that one for a little while. I will definitely be asking for a budget increase over the next few seasons as my assistant coaches take up the huge bulk of my budget, and I'm left wanting on the recruiting budget from the get-go. This year was the first year that I've had no recruiting package whatsoever to start the season. Alright, so back into the recruiting, we'll take a look, and you can see this is the top 3 guys on the list, and Forney has a 4.0 GPA. He will definitely be coming. You can see he's got some solid Bs, though he's not a great inside shooter. But as a point guard, not a big deal. Lots and lots of Bs across the board here, and defense is a B. These defensive stats aren't great, but stealing's a C. The athleticism being a D is slightly worrying for a point guard, but that's also why you have depth, and I never play a ton of minutes on my top guys anyway. I never have them for more than about 30 or 32 a game, because I do like to use my depth. I do like to develop my team because there's always next season. Alright, so that's a big pickup. Now, what I'm looking for this season was I had 3 certainties and then 1 kind of bonus signing. I need 1 guard, whether it be point guard or shooting guard, doesn't necessarily matter. I need 1 post player, again, power forward, center, doesn't matter so much. And then I absolutely needed a small forward. Now, I've got 2 there, so that's my extra guy right now. If I lose Ansley due to his SAT score not being enough, GPA meets minimum qualifications, but I'm worried he's not going to have a 960 on the SAT if his GPA is that low. If that ends up happening, well, I've got small forward taken care of in Jamal Small. And then I'll be able to get kind of whoever's the best of the rest out there, or go for the best of the rest out there at that point. So the one position I am still absolutely in need of and do not have a scholarship out on offer at the moment is that post player. But you can see kind of going down the list, that's where I'm at, and I don't necessarily have guys that I am in a great position to target at the moment. But during this contact period that we just had this week, I was targeting some post players, try to get them up on the list. And what's happened? Hooper and McConnell, were they? Let's see. Let's go back to that mail. Hey. No, Graves, Gunn, and Fingleton. So Graves, we got a boost there. Gunn, okay. It said there was a boost, but he's still just a single plus, and we're not on his top 10. Graves, we're on number 9 now. And Fingleton, that was the one I went after. Okay. And I have gone after McCamey a bit. His rank dropped a lot from where it was. It was actually much higher than that. Alright, well, it should be a little easier to focus on just one player for a while, but I've got to remember that there's a good chance I will have one more opening with the likely loss of Ansley. And in that case, I still need to keep after these guys a little bit. Alright, so we're going to start with our scouting from the bottom of the list this time. I think I did the top last time. Okay, that scholarship is still dangling out there, but now that it's a quiet period, it will be a little harder to do some recruiting. I should go through and see who else has actually signed and remove them off my list. Okay, there you go. McConnell has signed with Stanford, so he's out. Price going to Oregon State. I think Price was going to struggle to qualify. See, there's still quite a few guys that I need to work on the pitch categories, and then we're back to the top. Okay, let's go ahead and edit that down. Okay, only a few players, and while we're at it, let's put in our call time. This is a guy who just moved back up in the rankings. He had dropped down last time. I said they were all initially in the top 350. Oops. We already through. I didn't need to do that first one. The interest level. There we go. Oh, he's not interested in much. Alright, well, we're out of time at the moment. Alright, we'll call that good for a week. It is a quiet week, so I'm not really going to get anyone to sign, even if I do offer that scholarship at the moment. Ooh, first incident report of the year. Always happens. Let's see, Dixon and Hansen. Dixon and Weiss. And Erskine at Delia. Always happens a little bit. Never amounts to too much, but I'll keep an eye, especially if I get repeats of the same names. Alright, so we'll watch film on these guys. I'm assuming nobody's signed this week because it was a quiet period. They might have, but I'll check in on that later. Okay, I know I at least got to Jones last time, so that'll have all these guys covered. And I think next week I'll start with some evaluation. Of those players that are left out there. There we go, we got through to this guy. The new rankings, we had only tried a couple times. You can see he was down a bit in the last rankings. And we had just come out with new rankings. Okay, here's Hobbs. We can finish him off. This one I ended the week with last time. So this is the first time to go after that guy. Alright, that's it for this week. Run practice again. Alright, let's run down, make sure nobody has been signed. Oop, there's a couple. Dobbins going to UW. Jordan going to Gonzaga. There we go. Okay, so just a couple lost. And let's go ahead and go down our call list. There we go, we'll get through to this guy. Okay, not calling Dobbins. There we go. My assistant coach made a little progress with this guy. We got through most of the rest. That's it for the call time. update on the guys that are coming to my school. If I were to get all three of them, here's what I love. They're all really good scorers. They're all really good defenders. That's what I care about. Somebody who can get us some buckets when we need it, but especially somebody that can shut down the opposition. And if Ansley does qualify, I definitely don't mind having two small forwards coming in. For one thing, small forward's been a weak position for me for the last few years. And that would give me an absolute quality of depth. And two, they can play out of position. They can play at shooting guard, they can play at power forward, at least one of them. So they can, get minutes one way or another. So I don't mind having two absolute quality players at the same position. I can deal with that. Alright, there's the updates on that. Now, let's take a look at just guards. Okay, so I have Forney signed. He's a 4.0 GPA. I'm not going to lose him. So, these other guys would be a number 2 if I lose Ansley. And if I'm going to take a number 2, I'd rather have a shooting guard. But that doesn't mean anything, especially with that statement I just made. Now, Avery's got a 1.9 GPA. Let's just get this kid out of here. He's not going to qualify. There's no way he's going to qualify. So, you're off the list. Okay. Smith is actually questionable. He might not qualify, but he is a B overall, so I might hang on to him for now. And he's maybe in a best of the rest defender status. Though it looks like skill-wise, Hooper's definitely got the best attribute line. And then Smith. Alright, let's look at just small forwards now. And there's the chance that I could lose both of them. So I've got to be really careful on that. If I do, I need one fallback player. But I probably don't need 4 fallback players. Kraft Hobbs, Leith, and Nicholson. Leith's a JC transfer. GPA is terrible, but for a JC transfer, you only need 2.0 and above. Okay, none of them are terrible defenders. The Leith cannot rebound for the life of him. Or do anything else. So he's actually probably the first to go. Especially his ranks dropped a lot. So let's get rid of Leith. And let's take a look here at Nicholson. He was ranked a lot higher last time, so his ranks dropped, but he's getting 15 points per game. GPA's questionable on whether he'll qualify or not. Defense is mediocre. These guys are all kind of pretty questionable, all 3 of them. Well, we're down to 3. Okay, now here's that big one that I still need somebody from this list. Is there anybody who absolutely does not fit the bill? Okay. This one's an easy comparison. They all are good inside shooters. They're all good scorers overall. Is there anybody who's going to cause us major trouble handling the ball? McCamey is. And he's not good at passing either. None of them are great outside shooters. But they can all hit a little bit. Okay. It says B, but McCamey is absolutely the weak link in this bunch. He's the lowest in almost every category and doesn't rebound. I need a post player who can rebound. Okay, now Hart's not going to qualify. Pettian's not going to qualify. Gunn will. Gunn should qualify. Graves should qualify. They're both C's on defense, but they both can rebound a bit. There's a good rebounder. Oh, he's not going to qualify, though. Hart, good on D, good rebounder, good scorer. They say C overall, but I'm seeing a lot of qualities here. He's even good at passing. Our only one that's good on handling is Pettian. Same problem. I like this guy, but that 2.1. Oh, he's... Dang it. Okay. Probably not going to qualify. See, I'm hurting for choices here. Quality choices. I have choices, but half of these guys look like they're not going to qualify. And they're the better half in terms of playing ability. So it looks like I really need to be looking at these guys, because Jones... Is he standing out anywhere? No, he's not. Well, he can defend and rebound. Even though it says he's a C. And look at that straight line of B's. And passing. Okay. Let's go ahead and offer to him for now and see what happens. We'll target Jones for the time being, and then Graves and Gunn as the likely fallbacks, because these other guys I'm pretty sure aren't going to qualify. McCamey probably will, but he's the one who can't rebound in that list. Alright, get back to a view of everybody. The list is a little bit shorter. Wow, no news this week. That's rare. Alright, we'll start from here. The list is a little different than it was. I'm constantly trying to update those attributes. Get a little closer. There's only 4 guys left. Okay, we're under 7,000 on the budget now. Alright, Hooper. Nope, still not interested. Okay, Gunn, we're not on his list at all. Fingleton, we are number 10. So Pettian's a pretty solid player here, but I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure he's not going to qualify. Either way, you might be curious about how last season ended up for me. Because when we got to the end of the season, I had 0 players. 0! I had a couple. They ended up not qualifying. it got nasty for me on that sense, and quite worrying at the end. So, before we go into... Well, let's go into the week.
You have new mail. You have new mail.
Before we go back into recruiting, we'll take a look at the roster, see what the outcome was. All right, see, we are coming up on season, and perfect timing with that red shirt reminder, though I've already made a decision on that. So here's my 2 walk-ons. I've got Daryl Dixon, he's a junior this year, and the new one, Scott Martin, is a center. But those are my walk-ons. Here's my scholarship guys. Greg Burton, we did end up getting him. I offered him at the end of the year. So he did a week before the last chance to sign on. He did sign on, and he will be redshirting this season. And then Delia, we got him. So that was a big one. And he is not going to redshirt. He is playing this year. Paul Floyd, same thing. Freshman incoming, we got him. He signed. That's 3 for 3. And Weiss as well. He's going to redshirt this year. So all 4 guys that I had scholarships offered out to, all 4 signed right at the end before it was too late. And looking at the overall ratings here, Erskine looking pretty strong as a 3. Our transfer from the year before, Ryan Driver, is actually our second best player right now, 2.5 stars. That's a little weak. That is a little bit weak. We are not as strong this year as we were last year. And Ryan Driver, our transfer, got a problem. He is suspended till December because of his GPA, which is a 1.8. Let's go with the academics. It is time for a tutor again. I've been working really hard to try to get his GPA up. It was a 1.5. It is now a 1.8. It needs to be a 2 for him to be eligible, and he's got a month and a half to get that up. So hopefully he can make that happen. He'll miss the beginning of the season, but as long as we can get him qualified later on. If he never gets that up, which this is about the 4th time I've had him get a tutor since joining the team, if he still can't get that above a 2, I'll probably just cut him because I'm tired of dealing with him. He's already wasted away a year on scholarship, and now it's going to be a year and a half on scholarship. If he turns that into 2 years on scholarship, I don't think I'll bother waiting for year number 3. So, Ash, 2 stars. Hansen, 2 stars. There you go. Paul Floyd, new one coming in, 2 stars. Gaines is 2 stars. Tahid is 2 stars. So I've got plenty of depth there. And then Burton, Davis, Delia, all star and a half. Wise, star and a half. And then Butler, Tafflinger, a little disappointing that he's seen as so low at this point. But you can see center is one spot that I'm really hurting. Weiss is our best one at 1.5 stars. All right, back to recruiting. Let's get to it. We're about a week away from that first game. We still have enough time to at least get that first game in. And it looks like we have new rankings. Gunn has moved up a bit. Let's go ahead and watch film on the guys. We'll just go from the bottom. Still a quiet period. Alright. Gun is good. Tinsley is gone. Going to Utah. we've got McDonald all the way unlocked now. Here's McCammy, just jumping back up the rankings a bit. Okay, we just flew through Nicholson. He was down in the rankings, so we had... Oh, we don't have the parent info. Yeah, we can get that later. Here's Hart. I think that's the first time we've tried to contact him this year. And here's Hooper, who just plummeted down the rankings.
You have new mail. You have new mail. You have new mail.
Okay, lots of new mail. And it's mostly scouting reports. We're ready to start the season. Let's get the recruiting done first. And then we'll get to our first game of the year. Alright, so gun. I think we got as far as McCammy last time. Let's go ahead and scout my guys that are coming just so I can keep up to date. And that's far enough. I don't need to spend anymore, especially as our budget is starting to dwindle. And I still have 1, maybe 2 players to sign. And where did our guy go? Jones. Let's watch film on him too. I am not in his top 10. So it isn't naturally climbing, but the next contact period will be where we really get the opportunity to sign someone. Okay, so dealing with the call list. Okay, parent info. Nope, doesn't want to share it right now. Heart. Hooper's the one that keeps giving us the cold shoulder. It's not a big deal. And that's back to the top of the list. Alright, heading into the season, I need to do my depth chart first. Okay, so Taflinger, Weiss. Let's see who all is redshirting first. It's Weiss and Burton. Weiss and Burton. Is Taflinger? No, because that would have been 5. I didn't have 5. I had 4. Taflinger should be a redshirt freshman, right? Nope, oh, went the wrong way. Depth chart. Maybe it is Taflinger, because they've got him at the bottom of the list. Okay, so it's not Burton, it's Taflinger and Weiss that are redshirting. And that takes us to Driver and above. Driver doesn't qualify yet, that's why he's down here on the bottom of the depth chart. There we go, top 12 guys. Now, Butler is just 1 star, so he's going to hang out down here at the bottom. Probably going to put Burton above Dixon and Martin, who are our walk-ons. Or at least above Martin. Dixon. Let's put you at a 90. Put you at an 85. Dixon's a walk-on too, but he actually does have some skill. Put him at an 85, and then now we're up to Floyd and above. Floyd's 2 stars. So he's probably going to be our 6th man, which means he needs to go above Delia and Davis. Now looking at our starting players, that's Erskine at shooting guard, Gaines, Ash, Hansen, and Tahid. Floyd is the true freshman, so I don't mind him coming off the bench. Erskine's gonna stay on a little bit longer than anyone else. Maybe a lot longer than anyone else. He might be getting a lot of minutes this year. But Delia's not bad behind him. Well, he is. 1.5 stars. That's not good. Alright, rotation. Let's go with AI suggest submatrix first to match what I have, and we'll start with Erskine, set for 30 minutes a game. Does that mean Delia is getting the other 10? Yes. Okay, Gaines set to 30. Davis is set to 10. Let's go back to where we're at. Davis. That's actually probably good. Though I might, we'll make that 12. There's not a big gap between these guys. 12 or 14. Oh, 14. So Davis, we need to bump you up a little bit. Okay, about early second half. Yeah, there you go. Davis. There's 12. There's 14. Okay, let's see. Ash still has not materialized into a top player and has no backup. There is no backup small forward. Which means until I get driver. So Floyd and Heat. So Floyd is actually my backup small forward and my backup power forward. So he's going to get some pretty solid minutes. So what do they have Ash at? 40 minutes. No. Hansen has 30. That's probably good. Which means Floyd has 10. So Floyd's going to go up to maybe 20 here. And that means we need to watch when and where to put him in. He's already playing right there. So we'll play him right there. And then playing right there. So we'll play him here and here. He's playing a lot in the first half. Play him a little less in the second half as we get down to it. There's Floyd. So give him a break here. And 2 more minutes. And there. There we go. Okay. So he's not in much down the stretch, but Hansen and Ash are getting 30 each. Floyd's getting 20. That's good for the freshman, who's pretty good. Last up is our center. Looks like we have Martin over Tahid. Or Tahid over Martin. Let's see. Tahid, 28 minutes. Martin's got 12. Let's see here. Martin picking up 12 minutes. Yeah, I guess that'll do. Alright, so there's the depth chart set, ready to go. We'll watch this first game of the year, even though we are just about out of time for this episode. And it's Delaware. So on the road at Delaware. Be nice to know what the level of quality is here. But we don't have time, so we'll just get into it. Alright, so here's our starting five for the year. Gaines, Erskine, Ash, Hansen, Tahid. We do have a sixth guy who could take a starting spot, but he is not qualified due to grades right now. Alright, we're definitely playing at game speed 10 today. Both teams all defensive in the first 2 minutes. There's the first bucket of the game. So we are 0 for 4 from the field. And we finally get our first bucket at 1 for 7. That's a terrible start. They're shooting 500, and yet we're still ahead. Figure if we can catch fire, we can pull away, and that's exactly what's starting to happen, as we are now 40% from the field and have a 7-point lead. 25-20. Okay, so early look at stats as we approach halftime. Rebounds, we are -5. But we're +5 on turnovers. We're still only 37% from the field, but we've lowered their percentage a bit. It's a 1-point game at half. Just 5 of 10 from the stripe. That's not good. But we are 5 of 15 beyond the arc and have 0 fouls committed. That's awesome. Yet they're 3 of 7. That doesn't make sense. That's got to be 3.5. Alright, so it's 46-36. We are pulling away a little bit, but we've shown that we can go cold. Rebounds, we've gone +1, so that's really helping. Looking at the individual players, Gaines, 15 points on 5 of 9 shooting. He's playing really well here as our new starter. Erskine, just 4 points on 1 of 5 shooting, so he's having a bit of a difficult day. We are up by 16 here with 5 to play. Delia off the bench with 10 on 4 of 5 shooting. Rebounds, Floyd has 10 of them off the bench, so our incoming freshman doing a really good job. It's 72-50 final score. Erskine did get up to 11 points, but he was just 2 of 7 shooting. Last year he was right there with our leading scorer. I think he was second. But again, it's 15 points. He did level off a little bit, just 5 of 10 by the end of the game. Alright, we struggled in the first half, but we did pull it out in the end. Let's go ahead and sim the week and at least see where we're at. Utah Valley State. We're on the road again for that one. They have not played a game yet, so it's hard to tell. And even then, you don't know what one win means. They did lose their opener. Looking early on at the top 25, Kansas is the year's number 1 going into week 1 with Oklahoma, UConn, Arizona, and Notre Dame, the top 5 in the nation. We lost that game. It was a road game. I have no idea how high they were ranked, but we dropped to 1-1 in the first week of the year. So we split 2 road games.
You have new mail.
The season.
You have new mail.
We've got a 3rd road game in our 3rd game, so we're starting with a pretty difficult schedule.
You have new mail.
Let's at least check that schedule before we wrap this episode up. I'll look at those the mail later. So Delaware. Let's see. I thought it usually showed. No, just get the RPI. Got to check the mail. So we lost by 7 in that second game. We've got a lot of road games in our non-conference. But you can see we do have a few home games in a row. Alabama State, Portland State, and Houston. Let's glance at... Oh, there we go. Letter of intent. Forney and Small. Ansley, it's still just a verbal. That's interesting. Let's see, where was that? Utah Valley State is Conference T, so that's actually a little bit of a disappointing loss there. Delaware was Conference P. Alright, well, that does it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer, and remember, I'm aiming for the best of the best. So if you're ready to join me on my journey, hit subscribe. And tune in next time on my road to the record. I'll finish out the sim for this first week, but otherwise, bye for now. Ooh, 1 and 2. 2 losses. So 1 and 2 on that road stretch. First home game of the year is against South Dakota. And we go to 2-2. Difficult start to the season.